I'm Avery or Hazel or Kylie. You can just pick one, I don't care.
Hello, I am Lily.
And welcome to the From the Closet podcast. Today we are covering The Matrix Reloaded. So, obviously, this episode will contain spoilers for The Matrix Reloaded. If you would like to
Oh,
avoid
really?
if you would like to avoid spoilers, you will find a link in the description below to the Just Watch page for this movie. Our link is sent before that. On that page, you will find links to every place you can rent, purchase, or stream this movie. For us here in the US, it's on HBO Max. Our link is to the US version of the site. If you use the app, it will automatically redirect you to your country's page. And if you use the website, you can change the country from the website page itself. With that being said, I'm going to spin the wheel to determine what we are covering tomorrow.
Oh shit, we haven't spun the wheel in a while.
And it is A Silent Voice. I'm glad to finally be.
Fucking what?
We've literally had this conversation 5 times. I'm not having it again right now.
Okay.
So, yeah, you can join us tomorrow for that. You can join us next week for our free movie of the month for April and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Also in the description below, you will find a link to our Patreon where you can get access to future episodes of this show before they release, as well as early access to episodes of our sister show, Off the Shelf, which is about books. That podcast is exclusive to YouTube and Patreon, and you're also able to vote on future episodes of this show. Also in the description is a link to Anchor.fm, which itself has links to every platform that this podcast is on, as well as links to our Instagram and Twitter where you can be notified when we release a new episode. With all that being said, we are going to be reaching into spoiler territory now, so please get out if you would like to avoid spoilers.
So, Neo.
Yeah, Neo. Okay.
Where do we start, really?
I don't know where to start with this movie because, honestly, it feels like another Back to the Future Part 2 situation where the first movie was really good and wraps up things pretty well while still leaving some stuff in there for a sequel, but then the sequel is just the first of a two-parter that doesn't really contain a self-contained story by itself.
Well, another thing is that these movies were clearly filmed exactly at the same time. I could make the argument that Back to the Future, maybe there was some parts of the first movie that were filmed before they even thought about the second movie.
Well, see, the second and third Back to the Future movies were released really close together, and there was at least a few years gap between the releases of the first movie and the second movie.
Mm-hmm. This movie, The Matrix, didn't even get a year. It was released in the same fucking year.
Hold on.
2003, the year I was born. We've talked about that a few times as well, Avery.
That is not right.
And actually, Matrix Reloaded and Matrix something else both came out in 2003.
Okay, I thought you were saying the original released less than a year before this movie. And I was like, there is no way. There is no way that's right.
No, I was talking about Matrix Reloaded in the third movie.
Yeah, I'm seeing this movie released in May, and let's look at Revolutions.
Honestly, that was the main reason why I was actually confused which one was the second movie, because I just look at a release year, not the exact date. Why
Okay,
should
so
I?
Revolution's released in October. So, yeah, not even not even a year apart. Honestly, not even 6 months apart.
Crazy.
So yeah, like it's very clear this is the first of a two-parter, and like I don't know, it's kind of hard to cover because of that because the story is just incomplete.
Though there is quite a few payoffs, or I don't know. I don't know how to say, but there was a lot of things achieved throughout this movie, and a lot of things we learned.
All right, well,
Wouldn't you agree?
there's there's some things, yes, but I think one of my issues that I have with
Hmm,
this movie is the pacing of it. Because
I would
like
agree with that.
yeah, because like a decent chunk of the first half is like exposition, really. Like
Hmm.
it's all just like oh, and also there's the fact that like for a chunk of the first half, there like everybody's aware of this big attack that's coming. Like literally everyone's aware of it. Meanwhile, party is happening. What?
I mean, a party before the end of your life sounds dope.
Yeah, I don't know. That just kind of threw me off. It was weird. It felt weird tonally.
I get that.
Yeah. So we have like a solid amount of exposition, mostly just so that we can explain all the action that's going to happen later. But then this,
And
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and there was a lot of action.
Yeah, that's the other thing that I was about to go into. Pretty much from the moment that they find the, I can't remember if he was called the key maker or the key master, but um, pretty much from the moment they find him, the action does not stop until we meet the architect. And
Yeah, this movie is just straight up action, and I don't know how much I like the action. Like, it's enjoyable, however.
yeah,
What about you?
a lot of the action and the fight choreography is enjoyable, but at a certain point I was starting to think, all right, this is starting to feel bloated.
Absolutely. And I mean, you get what you pay for. This is the very definition of action movie.
Yeah, but this movie
It's
is
like
2
watching
hours this movie is 2 hours and 18 minutes, and I feel like we maybe could have shaved 15 minutes off of this movie, maybe make it an even 2 hours. I don't know. It just feels really bloated.
I mean, you could shave off quite a bit of this movie and just release one movie.
Yeah, probably. But then I haven't seen Matrix.
Obviously, I never seen the third one, so I don't know how much you can cut off of that. But I'm willing to bet you could have cut off some of the stuff in that movie as well, and just combine it together.
And also, like, okay, so I don't know if this is just me. Maybe I should have rewatched the original before watching this movie, but I thought Morpheus
Hmm.
was dead.
No. Um. That's one of the things that Neo saved Morpheus.
All right. I guess I just don't remember. I mean, when did we cover The Matrix? It was like, I don't know, fucking November, December, and it's February now for us recording.
Good times.
Yeah, but I mean, the bottom line, like, I don't know. I was just kind of confused by that. But then also, the first movie, like, already revealed that this, the Matrix that we're seeing throughout all of this, isn't the first one. So, why is, like, why was there, like, some big deal about this one being not the first one in this movie?
I think the big deal was that how this one isn't the first one plays into Neo being the one.
Yeah, it's just, it kind of frustrated me. Um, like you already knew this wasn't the first Matrix, but I don't know. Like the
I
rest of
mean,
that
it
stuff,
also
the rest of that stuff I get. It's just they were also making this aspect of it a big deal, and
that's true. Also, they said this wasn't the first Matrix, but they only alluded to that. Um,
no, they gave us some
they
pretty
never
significant details in the first movie. Like
they only
they
alluded to like they gave us a very confident answer of there was five others before this. We never knew there could have only been one failed attempt, and now this one. In fact, that's actually what I assumed when I watched the first movie. I thought,
no, the first movie
they tried.
definitely implied that there were multiple before the one
Hmm,
that we see in the movie.
but I guess this movie definitely reveals that um, the Matrix goes through a rebirthing process, and Neo is the key to Ragnarok
Yeah,
in
and
a
like
way.
apparently they've destroyed Zion a number of times, and apparently they even destroyed Zion here too, which I question. Um, but that's beside the point. I also it's something about the score in this movie. Uh,
Hmm.
it reminds me of the Flash TV series, the one from 2014, not the one from 1990. And I'm kind of curious if they're the same composer.
That'd be something interesting to look up.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up now, and like hopefully you can fill this space with some.
Um, my egregious charm, overwhelming charm is what I meant to say.
Uh-huh.
So, oh, you laugh now. Um, the characters in this movie, I want to cover that because they got pretty close to the original, if not spot on. I always hate it when sequels just divulge their personalities way too much. So it's nice to see um, the sequels at least true to the characters. Like Avery said, it spends way too much on certain points and probably could have been shorter.
Yeah. So
Um,
uh just to follow up on my search, they were different
hmm,
composers. Um,
aw.
would have been really cool, but something about the score of this movie very much reminds me of the theme from that show.
Interesting.
But yeah,
Um, what do you think about the settings in this movie?
I don't know. Just we don't. I feel like we don't see much of Zion, and then at the same time, we with the Matrix, it's kind of, I don't know how to put it. It's kind of hard to get too into the settings there because
Mhm.
none of it's real.
I mean, it's interesting. Despite none of it being real, you can do so much with it.
Yeah, and
Hell,
like They had Neo basically becoming Superman,
Yeah,
literally
he is the
referencing
Super
Superman,
Satan.
which I guess that's something I have to take note of for a later project.
I don't want to know how people in this universe know Superman.
Well, I mean, I think it's implied that the Matrix universe is like our universe, but like several hundred years in the future.
I mean, that's true. However, several hundred years in the future, how much do you think has survived?
Who knows?
That's a
Yeah.
big question, really.
So Matrix One takes place in 2199, and I think this movie. I think this movie has a 6 month time gap because someone
That
mentioned that
sounds accurate.
someone mentioned that they had been pulling out more people in the last 6 months than ever before.
Oh yeah, yeah, that absolutely happened.
Yeah. So like
Um,
I think that's implying that there is a six
Also,
month
there
time
was
gap
this
here.
awkward love scene in this movie that
But yeah, I
really,
don't
if
know.
I'm being
I
honest, really
genuinely
did
don't know how to
not
feel about this
feel like
movie. There's a lot of
in the
other
same pacing of the
story
rest of the
arcs that
movie.
get started but never get finished because this is the first of a two-parter.
Hello?
And you're meant to watch these two
What's
parts in
happening?
close relation to each other. And who knows, we may or may not be doing that. And we are back after some annoying technical difficulties. What's this, like our third episode that we've had to split into two parts because of because reasons?
Yeah, you forgot about the first time that happened. Though the second time this happened because of Discord, if that means anything.
Well, yeah, like the only times I can think of this happening have been like X2 and Agents of Shield. I think that was season 2 of Agents of Shield. And
Yeah, and Agents of Shield had to do with
my internet died in
uh
that episode.
oh, your internet died. It wasn't Discord. Hey, we have all different reasons for this happening.
Yeah, but isn't it weird that this happened during Matrix 2?
Oh, motherfucker.
Why is this always happening in two things?
I don't know.
And then of course
But let's just
we have split episodes into multiple parts by choice. But those are like splitting those up in terms of releases to make it easier for people to watch.
yeah. I mean, I do feel like it was a mistake to cut up the episodes of Gravity Falls. At the very least, we should have like went to see how it went and then cut it up depending on how we saw fit.
I feel like our mistake with Gravity Falls was covering episode by episode.
That's another mistake as well. One that we have rectified in our later episodes.
Yeah. But anyway, what I was saying earlier, it's just kind of hard to judge this movie by itself because it's the first of a two-parter and you're meant to watch both parts very quickly after each other. And who knows if we're going to be doing that because a lot of it's random chance based on just where the wheel lands. And like our next
Our
record
lives are literally being judged by RNG right now.
Yeah, and then like our next two recordings are for sure not going to be this movie. Actually, our next three recordings are for sure not going to be this movie because they're going to be Doctor Strange, our free movie of the month for April, and A Silent Voice.
Well, I mean, despite it being really close, it's still only if, like, obviously, there's a chance that we don't see the next movie next year. However, we could still see this movie within a few months, and that's how it was intended viewing.
Yeah. I don't know. Just to me, it's kind of it's really hard to judge this movie when there's so many plot threads that get started and then they aren't going to be resolved in this movie, and I hope they get resolved in the next movie. And then I have
So
no
I guess
idea
we
what
can,
Matrix 4 is going to do.
yeah. I I've heard a lot of people disappointed,
I wouldn't be
but
surprised because, like, by my understanding, Matrix 3 is supposed to, like, close out the series and, like, actually be a logical conclusion to the plot of everything. Like, I imagine the war will be over and, like, the humans will have won in Revolutions.
I don't think so. I mean, I guess that could be a possibility. But I'm still holding out on what if they just don't and just become really close. Okay, there's actually another thing I was thinking about this movie and this series as a whole.
What's that?
They're they're only dealing with one part of the system. There there's a bunch of robots keeping these humans to power the robots, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what are they using with that power? What are the rest of the robots doing outside of the Matrix?
That's an interesting question.
Like, even if they get out of the Matrix, they still have to deal with these other robots and the entire reason why the Matrix existed in the first place.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll ever explore that. We'll have to see.
Food
But
for thought, I guess.
but yeah, like I don't know. Like this movie is nowhere near as good as the first one in my opinion.
Hmm. Honestly, I would have to agree, though I'm not going to say it's a bad movie.
I wouldn't
But
say that either. It
average is a. I wouldn't.
I would
I
say
don't
it is
feel like this is
poorly
an.
paced.
Honestly, I would not say this is an average movie, but I will feel like that is close enough, if you get what I mean.
Yeah. So
Poorly paced, over bloated with one thing in particular. And oh yeah, I was about to mention something before we got cut off. I don't believe you've heard it.
maybe not.
Um, there's that uncomfortable, weirdly placed, that love scene.
Gonna
You
have to
remember
be
that?
more specific because there's a lot of weirdly placed love scenes in this movie.
I mean, like the part where they're making out, probably doing the naughty stuff, and then it just kept cutting into that, cutting back to these other people, cutting back into that.
Are you talking about during the party?
Yeah,
Why not just say that? Yeah, it was weird. I was like, I don't know why are they doing this? Is it just fan service?
probably.
You know, speaking of fan service, I recently heard someone describing another movie as taking a fan service plot and actually writing it in such a way that it's a good story. And we'll get to that
What
movie
movie would that
eventually.
be?
It would be Spider Man No Way Home.
Huh.
And yeah, I definitely
Oh,
agree with that. It is a fan service plot, but it's written in such a way that it's actually a good story.
huh. I am interested to see this
Yeah,
No Way Home.
yeah, and it's funny because the characters here really don't have a way home either. Supposedly their home has been destroyed, which just kind of reminds me of what happened at the end of Catching Fire, where like we hear that and this entire place has been destroyed, but we don't see it. We don't see any evidence, and we are going to have to wait till the next movie to see if that's
If
true.
ever.
Yeah. But
I mean, they kind of did that with the first movie. They of the Hunger Games. They said that this civilization, one of the districts, has been destroyed, but we never see it destroyed. So,
but
just later in the movie,
with that
just later, it's
case,
just
um,
not destroyed.
with that case though, it's entirely different because the implication is that District 13 had been destroyed long before the series even started.
I'm just mentioning how it wasn't actually destroyed.
Yeah. But we'll see if it's actually destroyed or not. In Matrix Revolutions, at least I hope we will. Otherwise, that's a really weird thing to leave open ended until Matrix 4, which I don't think they intended to make a Matrix 4 when they made 3.
No, I do not think either. And I guess we can watch The Matrix 4 to if um, see why they made Matrix 4. Money, other reasons.
I have a feeling that the answer is probably money.
Probably, but we can't
Yeah,
can't judge what we don't know.
yeah, I don't know. This movie, it's just I've said like I don't know 6 times in this episode. Really hard to judge. Really hard to put a finger on how I feel. The whole virus thing that they're doing with Agent Smith is kind of it's something.
I find it cool, I guess. What does he refer to? A rogue program?
Yeah, I think something like that.
Because he was disconnected from the Matrix after the first movie.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. The whole like swarm of Smiths like descending on Morpheus is just it's kind of haunting in a way. And it's also really haunting when you see like other characters just shapeshift into Agent Smith. It's very awkward.
They couldn't get more actors.
Yeah, well, no, like they clearly did, and they just shapeshift into this guy.
They couldn't get them for long, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's probably the most unsettling thing in this movie. At least this movie doesn't have anything that like made me actually want to just turn the movie off, like the
Yeah.
first movie did.
Actually, I do actually have a response for you, Avery, about them not being able to get the actors. They could just get regular background actors that don't know any like actual fighting or act fighting. So when they get turned to Agent Smith, well, Agent Smith knows how to act that way. Professional actor and all of that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we'll go with that explanation because we completely lack a better one. But yeah,
Yeah. Also, I mean, there is no other explanation. They had to be filming both these movies at the same time.
yeah,
There's no, you could not get two movies with that close a release date.
I mean, unless you just delayed one of them releasing by a bunch. which is something that we know that Marvel does.
Actually, yeah, you're right. They could have just delayed it.
But
Um,
I don't think they did that. I guess we'll see.
Honestly, if you want to know what I think about this, it almost seems like they wanted to make one movie, one big movie. They wanted to make the Titanic. However, it was too ambitious. They couldn't. So I think some of the footage that they did went over to the second movie.
You mean the third movie?
Yes. Sorry about that. Usually I don't get allergies. I don't know what's coming over me.
Yeah. But anyway, like I don't know, like because of like the nature of this movie, I don't know how to rate it. Um, and I have a feeling that whatever rating I give will likely change in the future when I see the third movie.
So exactly how I felt um, with Mockingjay Part 1.
Yeah. But
Honestly, I feel like I can rate this movie on its merits because despite it being a lot of setup, there is a lot of things I can rate it on now.
yeah, with all that being said, like I'm gonna just get into the critic ratings now.
Honestly, I am actually really excited to see what the critic ratings are, especially after all this indecisiveness with how to rate it.
So, IMDb gives this movie a 7.2 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes gives it a 73%. Letterboxd has it at 3.3 out of 5, which
Bitch, who?
we've literally had them appear multiple times already, so I don't know. If you
Yeah, but like they are rare.
if you if you convert that over to a out of 10 scale, that would be a 6.6 out of 10. And then
Yikes.
87% of Google users like this movie.
So I'll
So,
be honest, I'm confident on my feelings on this movie. That I never really figured out what I wanted to rate it. So honestly, that 7.2 sounds perfect.
I think for me, I'm gonna go just based off of my enjoyment, which like I'm gonna leave it at a 6.8. That's my rating
Hmm.
for now. In the future, it may change. But anyway, you can join us tomorrow for A Silent Voice, and next week for Doctor Strange. No, 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 not Doctor Strange. Our free movie of the month and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Huh.
Yeah.
Guardian of the Galaxy. Huh?
Yeah, we're far enough ahead, but like Doctor Strange is like our next recording section, which is where my confusion came about.
Ah.
Yeah. All right, but with all
Well,
that being said, I've been Avery, that's been Lily, and we will be seeing you.